He had my mom up against the back wall with his fist clenched like this. But my mom's boyfriend, I'll never forget this guy. He had black hair, he had a gray patch on the front of his head. When he heard the door, it startled him, so here's what he did. He looked over his left shoulder. Here's Chad Varga. I'm standing there, cut off white t-shirt, basketball shorts, socks and slides, and I'm standing there at 14, and he looked at me. When he realized it was just a 14-year-old kid, he kind of smirked at me with this look like as if to say, what are you gonna do, big fella, you know? And he was happy because it wasn't a neighbor. He wasn't getting busted for domestic violence. So what he did is he finished what he was doing. I watched him hit my mom in the face. I watched my mom's lips bust and her body just kind of crumbled to the contours of that back wall. And I did what you do. You know what I did? I went running at him, and I remember, I'm serious, man, I hit him as hard as I could. I grabbed a lamp off the table, I hit him across the shoulder. I had a little Muhammad Ali in me. I was working him a little bit, you know. I was doing my thing, but the reality was he fell down. I ran over to my mom. Didn't know he was gonna jump up. He jumped up, and he grabbed me, and he threw me against the wall, and my elbow dented the drywall. And we had a little lazy boy chair, and I stood up, and this guy worked construction, right? He had steel-toe metal boots on. When he kicked me, I thought he broke my leg. It was so much pain. I fell to the ground, and let me give you the visual. First thing I did was cover my face, and this guy started pounding me in my ribs, and I was taking them pretty good. Eventually, I couldn't breathe, so I dropped my hands, and he started hitting me, hit me 4, 5, 6 times in the face, not as bad as he could have. And he dragged me back in the back bedroom. He threw me on the bed. He's cussing me out. He's swearing death over me, and he slammed the door. As I stood up, and my eyes swollen shut, blood's running down my chin and my neck, and I started thinking about what my mom's boyfriends used to tell me. You know what they used to tell me? Chad, you're worthless. My whole life, people looked at me and they said, you're gonna be this because of what you're growing up in. And that night, laying in that bed, I made a decision at 14 years old that I wasn't gonna get caught up like the other kids. All these people, you get around successful people, guess what you'll find? There's a DNA strand in them that's different. There's something in them, it's insatiable. And what it says is nothing is gonna keep me from reaching my dreams. I learned this, that it doesn't just happen. When I was your age in high school, I was a senior, had one of the best games of my high school career. It was the best game of my career. Game was over. When I go in the locker room, we got our shower. Coach Holowicki goes like this. He said, fellas, no practice tomorrow. All my buddies on my team who raised their hand and said they were gonna be successful, go to college, play pro ball, as soon as he said we didn't have practice, those guys start nudging each other and they're excited because what it meant is they could go out, they could party, they could drink a little bit, hit the blunt. Now understand this, I didn't have a curfew. If I wanted to stay gone for 3 weeks, nobody was calling to see where Chad was at. And I turned around and I said, no, I got some work to do. And I kept walking. You know what I did that night? Well, all my buddies on my high school team, while they were at the party, the bonfire party, they were kicking it, popping tops, sucking suds, getting drunk. I went home, no dad telling me to do it. And I went in my house there on Marion Crescent and I threw on my shorts, I threw on my long sleeve tee, my sweatshirt with the hoodie, and my running shoes. And I took off and I went on a 3-mile jog. Somebody looked at me and said, why would you run 3 miles after playing a game? Do you know why I ran 3 miles? First team all state, getting recruited. My dream was to be the first in my family to go to college, play pro basketball, yes. But you know what my real dream was? To one day have a family and give them a life that I never had growing up. My buddies in school, they started laughing at me, making fun of me, nudging me a little bit, telling me it was never gonna happen. And here's one thing you can count on. Anytime you have a dream in your life, the first thing you can count on is for somebody to come along and tell you what you can't do and what you're incapable of. But what those kids didn't know in 8th grade is I'd grow to be 6'7", size 17 shoe. I was actually one of the top recruits, first team all-state. I was invited as a free agent to play with the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA, and right before the summer leagues and training camp, I broke my hand, and I was faced with a decision. Do I go to the CBA, which was like the minor leagues of the NBA, or do I go to Europe to play in the European professional leagues? And that's what I did. I went on to realize my dream. And I don't know if you get my point. What I'm trying to tell you is if you want to be successful, guess what you can't do? You can't do what everybody else is doing. Success is not a door you walk through. It's not a rite of passage that falls out of the sky and lands on you. It's something that takes an incredible amount of hard work. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Who you surround yourself with is who you eventually become. When you get to a place in your life and you don't know what to do, let me tell you the simple answer. Do the next right thing. If you've messed up, the next thing you do is the right thing, and you keep piling those choices on. Every single one of you in this room, do you know what you have? You have talents and abilities that are unique to you. Raise your level, and I promise you, eventually when you make good choices and you keep piling them on top of each other, you know what happens? Eventually it pays off.